It has already been 20 years since Lee Hyun-seok left Earth and found himself in another world. Today is the day Hyun-seok will finally defeat the monster and save the world. He is locked in battle with the Monster King, who is astonished that our boy endured such a devastating attack, and even praises him for being truly worthy of the title of hero. However, despite that praise, Hyun-seok's companions are barely holding on. His party consists of a saint, a mage, and a knight, all fighting alongside the hero Hyun-seok. At one point, our boy remarks to the Monster King that he himself does not look to be in very good condition either. This enrages the Monster King, who immediately launches another furious attack. Seeing this, Hyun-seok responds in kind, and the impact of their clash is so massive that his companions can do nothing except use defensive magic to protect themselves. The Monster King continues his relentless strike. Hyun-seok dodges the attack, steadies himself, and prepares to charge forward. He swings his spear again, declaring that his power is more than enough to take down the Monster King's arrogance. In the next moment, the Monster King is lying on the ground defeated. The Monster King admits that he never believed a human capable of standing against him. Hyun-seok responds by repeating that he is not from this world, but the Monster King dismisses it as nonsense. He continues, stating that after defeating the Monster King, Hyun-seok will never be remembered as the hero who saved it, because the people Hyun-seok believes to be his companions are simply waiting for him to die here. The saint, mage, and knight are visibly startled upon hearing this, and Hyun-seok calmly responds that he already knows. Upon hearing this, the knight grits his teeth and demands to know how Hyun-seok discovered the truth. Hyun-seok replies that the cowardly emperor acted out of fear, worried that Hyun-seok might one day claim the throne. Hearing this, the Monster King admits that he cannot understand Hyun-seok, because with the power he used to corner him, our boy could have easily defeated his comrades that had betrayed him. Hyun-seok simply replies that he did not do so for one reason. He wanted to go home. 20 years ago, Hyun-seok was an ordinary 30-year-old office worker. That ordinary life ended when he was approached by a goddess and suddenly transported to another world. She chose Hyun-seok as a hero and told him to save the world from the monsters. He tried every possible method to return to Earth, but the only way to do so was to defeat the monsters and save the world. And so, for 20 long years, Hyun-seok trained relentlessly to fight against them. After enduring for 20 years, Hyun-seok now stands there and shouts that he has completed the mission he was given and that the goddess must keep her promise. Suddenly, the red sky turns yellow, and the goddess appears, praising Hyun-seok for enduring so much. Ignoring the pleasantries, Hyun-seok points at her and asks whether she remembers her promise, that once he defeated the Monster King, and he would be sent back to Earth. The goddess smiles and asks if Hyun-seok truly dislikes this world. Hyun-seok replies that there is only one thing, which is to return to the world he once knew. He drops his spear, saying that this is all he wants. The goddess agrees. A light descends from the sky, and the goddess explains that since his physical body on Earth has already perished, she will place his soul into a new vessel. Hyun-seok thinks that as long as he can return to Earth, he does not care what fate the body carries. No matter how harsh it may be, it must be better than what he endured here. In the next moment, Hyun-seok opens his eyes in a new body on Earth. He wonders if he has truly returned. It is now the year 2025, and hero Hyun-seok has entered the body of an ordinary civilian named Yu Chan-seok. Now in Chan-seok's body, when he notices a mirror nearby and looks at his reflection, he becomes certain that he is truly back on Earth. Chan-seok happily checks that the water is clean and uncontaminated, real water with no magic involved. And most importantly, what our boy missed the most, chicken. The moment he realizes this, he starts drooling and eagerly eats it, savoring every bite and praising it so highly that tears come to his eyes. This is what real food tastes like. After 20 years of hardship, even fried chicken feels like a divine blessing. At last, he believes he can live a normal life, or so he thinks. Outside, strange red gate-like structures begin to appear. Ignoring them for the moment, Chan-seok decides to first adjust to modern Earth and checks the calendar. Now Chan-seok is happily taking a hot shower, enjoying water that pours down instantly without having to wait. Cold air flows out at the push of a button from the air conditioner, and above him stretches a clear, bright sky. Clinging to the window, he wonders what he should do in the year 2025. However, the very next moment, an ugly-looking creature glares at Chanseok through the window. The sudden sight startles him, and he nervously wonders what that creature could be. Suddenly, an announcement echoes through the area, informing nearby residents that a corrosion rift has appeared within the apartment complex. Chanseok is completely confused, as this is his first hour back on Earth, and he has no idea what a corrosion rift is. The announcement continues, instructing all residents to evacuate to the underground shelter immediately, repeating the warning over and over. Our boy wonders what in the world is happening and looks out the window again, only to discover that many more creatures of the same type have gathered outside, all glaring at him. Soon, the glass shatters, allowing the creatures to enter the building and chase after Chanseok. He runs for his life, desperately trying to understand their identity and what exactly has happened to Earth. The creatures continue searching for him, but Chanseok hides outside the window while they move upstairs. When he senses that they are no longer nearby, he climbs back inside and lets out a sigh of relief, commenting that he finally lost them. That relief vanishes instantly when he notices a child wandering around. The child spots Chanseok. Our boy urgently tells the child to hurry to the shelter because it is dangerous here. Ignoring the warning, the child instead asks whether our boy saw where the monster went. Hearing this, Chanseok asks what the child plans to do with that information, only for the child to casually reply that he is going to kill it. He then asks our boy if he wants to come along. Chanseok finds the situation completely absurd, and as they continue walking together, he learns that Earth has been like this for the past 13 years. The child insists that he will not go to the shelter, and our boy realizes he cannot simply leave him alone. Just like that, Chanseok ends up tagging along with the kid. He asks if his understanding is correct, that a corrosion rift is an exit from which monsters emerge, and that no one knows why they form or when and where they will appear. The child confirms this. Our boy, thinking that he survived living hell in another world only to return and find Earth turning into one as well. The child suddenly remembers something and asks why Chanseok seems to know nothing about any of this. Our boy is startled and hurriedly lies, saying that he had been living in America for a while. Trying to steer the conversation away from potential disaster, Chanseok asks about the hunter the child likes. The child's face lights up as he excitedly explains that her name is Lee Son, a member of the Janabi Guild, ranked 10th in the world, and that her main weapon is a greatsword. He adds that she is currently in Chorwin dealing with a corrosion rift. The reality sinks in. A normal human is fighting monsters, just like in the other world he came from. Our boy wonders how this is even possible. The child continues rambling, telling him to stay silent as he senses numerous monsters nearby. After focusing, he determines that there are 5 of them, only to realize there is another one hiding, making 6 in total. Chanseok notes that this body seems to have above-average strength, and he is accustomed to fighting multiple enemies, so dealing with them should not be a problem. However, his attention shifts to the child, who is now trembling in fear and on the verge of tears. As he watches the child, Chanseok cannot help but wonder where that fearless determination to kill monsters disappeared to so suddenly. Without a proper weapon, Chanseok wonders what he is supposed to do. Then he notices a faint bluish substance in the air and begins to suspect that it might be mana. After analyzing it, our boy becomes completely certain that it is the same energy he encountered in the other world. If that is the case, then the stick the kid is holding should be enough to fight the monsters. The mana he accumulated over 20 years is gone, but if mana exists in the air, then he can still use the paradox flame. The firepower is admittedly a bit disappointing, but he believes it is still more than enough to deal with these monsters. Our boy defeats a monster using the paradox flame, and the kid immediately praises him, calling it amazing. To be honest, the kid had been skeptical at first since Chanseok seemed clueless earlier, but now he is genuinely astonished after realizing that he possesses a unique skill. Hearing this, our boy laughs awkwardly and replies that he is just glad the kid was not hurt, while thinking to himself that this ability is apparently called a unique skill here. The kid then starts walking toward the monster. Seeing the kid approach makes Chanseok panic, and he tries to stop him. explaining that the flames of the paradox flame do not extinguish until the target is completely dead. The moment the kid steps within range, the monster suddenly attacks him. To save the kid, our boy grabs the monster. After that, Chanseok asks if he can borrow the staff the kid is holding. The kid hands it over without hesitation, and in the very next moment, the remaining monsters launch their attack. Using the stick, our boy defeats all of them in a single motion. The kid stares in disbelief, praises Chanseok again, and asks if he is secretly a hunter. Chanseok, now visibly exhausted, feels a wave of sadness. He survived that hellish other world hoping for peace. But if Earth has become like this, then it is no different from the place he escaped. Eventually, our boy reaches the shelter with the kid. The gates open, and they enter safely. Inside, a well-dressed woman suddenly recognizes the kid as her son, Yoon-sung. She bursts into tears and thanks our boy for bringing him to the shelter safely, explaining that her son can be reckless and that Chanseok must have had a hard time. Our boy hands Yoon-sung back to his mother and notices her luxury earrings and designer clothing, realizing that Yoon-sung is a rich young master, which, in hindsight, explains a lot. Suddenly, the shelter begins to shake. A monster smashes through the wall. The creature roars as panic spreads through the shelter, and another wall collapses. People begin running in fear. Amid the chaos, Yoon-sung says that they really have to run this time. Yet, lost in his thoughts, he admits that he was not asking for much. He just wanted to return to the world he knew, to the home he missed so dearly. He wonders if that desire is asking for too much. Chanseok looks at his injured palm and calls Yoon-sung a brat. Yoon-sung snaps back, reminding him not to call him that. Ignoring the complaint, he points out that Yoon-sung is rich and asks why he is even trying to become a hunter when he could hide somewhere safe and live comfortably without ever fighting. Yoon-sung finally explains that he lost his father to a monster. A corrosion rift opened inside an underground bunker they believed was safe, and that was when Yoon-sung realized there was no truly safe place on Earth. Even though he is not strong yet, monsters are terrifying, and he refuses to run forever. He declares that he will become the strongest hunter, eliminate all corrosion rifts, and save the world. Yoon-sung adds that it might sound like a foolish dream, but Chanseok immediately denies that, telling him he will become a great hunter. However, our boy adds that Yoon-sung will not be the one to save the world. With that, Chanseok turns and starts walking away. Yoon-sung's mother tells him that it is enough and urges him to leave, but Yoon-sung hesitates, noticing that our boy is not running. He turns around to help, only to realize that he has already defeated the monster. Chanseok calmly declares that he will be the one to save the world, because saving the world is a job best handled by someone who has already done it before. Chanseok was summoned to another world, fought monsters for 20 years, and finally made his way back to Earth. He barely had any time to enjoy his freedom before being immediately confronted by a corrosion rift. Fortunately, he survived by relying on his experience from his past life. He even promised a kid that he would save the world, only to do absolutely nothing afterward. Instead, he spends his days eating and playing games. He clears games with ease, proudly declaring that they are too easy, thinking that someone who has saved the world once could probably do it again. That said, saving the world is currently not Chanseok's top priority. He had spoken with such confidence in front of everyone, but his motivation to save the world fades quickly. Compared to endless battles, games, and abundant food, things he could only dream about in the other world are far more appealing, especially in a society where almost everything works with the touch of a button. Besides, when it comes to saving the world, there are already hunters handling that job. Thinking this way, our boy reaches for his phone to order food, only to freeze when he discovers that he has already spent all of his severance pay. The original owner of this body, Yoo Chanseok, was an employee at a logistics company, but he lost his job when the company went bankrupt after a corrosion rift appeared one day. Now that the severance pay has run out, Chanseok has tried to find a new job, but there is no way to secure normal employment. With corrosion rifts appearing constantly, many companies are going out of business, so he figures this outcome was inevitable. Since people need jobs to survive in modern society, he begins wondering what he is supposed to do next. Chanseok searches all over the internet, but no one seems to be hiring. The only places with consistent work are the hunter associations, and, inconveniently enough, He happens to have extensive experience in that exact field. The scene then shifts to the Hunter Association, where several people are visibly excited about becoming hunters. Another person smirks and claims that this batch is the best, only to freeze in shock when he spots Lee Sohn from the Janabi Guild walking in. Lee Sohn is ranked 10th in the World Hunter rankings. The candidates are stunned, as they believe she would not appear since she was supposedly subjugating a corrosion rift. One of them is amazed that the Janabi Guild would send someone to scout in person, and they all begin wondering who she might be here for. The scene shifts to Sohn as she reviews the profile of Han Sanga, a Hunter Academy graduate with the ability of electrokinesis. After reading it, Sohn casually remarks that this probably means Sanga can charge batteries. Her guard immediately responds that Sanga is a hunter candidate, not a power generator, adding that she is quite skilled and likely useful. While another guard loudly comments that hunting in corrosion rifts is real combat. The orange-haired guard continues, explaining that even if someone excels at the academy, many fail to perform well in real combat. After all, practice and real combat are completely different. Sohn remarks that the team leader must already know this, but she wonders if it is really acceptable for her to be away for an entire week. At that moment, the announcer thanks everyone for their patience and declares that the first match is about to begin. Sohn thinks that, one way or another, she has to complete the task she was assigned. The announcer then reveals that this candidate is particularly interesting, as he is a civilian who did not even attend the Hunter Academy. This situation is unprecedented, and even the announcer wonders what kind of courage the candidate must have to stand on this stage. That candidate is none other than Chanseok himself. As he steps onto the stage, the announcer continues, stating that he will now explain the rules of the match. Personal weapons other than those provided by the association are prohibited, and inflicting life-threatening injuries is strictly forbidden. Hearing this, Chanseok reflects that since he has decided to become a hunter, the first thing he must do is help save this world that seems destined to fall. At the same time, he also wants to live well and eat properly, and to achieve that, he needs good results in this tournament. The referee instructs both candidates to take their positions, and the match begins. The moment the match starts, the yellow-haired candidate launches an attack while laughing, mocking our boy as someone who cannot even gather mana. He tells Chanseok to consider it an honor to lose to him. Our boy silently watches as the yellow-haired candidate continues attacking, loudly boasting that he is the undefeated spearmaster of the Hunter Academy. Seeing this arrogance, Chanseok stamps his spear into the ground and suddenly disappears. The yellow-haired candidate freezes in shock, realizing that he has vanished. In the next instant, our boy appears at his side and attacks. Chanseok punches him in the stomach and then in the face. Our boy is slightly surprised that his opponent is already on the verge of fainting. He had used only his bare hands, believing that using a spear might seriously injure him. Chanseok thinks that the yellow-haired candidate fights like a complete beginner, which honestly shocks him. He begins wondering if this is the average level of hunters on Earth. Watching from the spectator area, Sohn is utterly amazed by Chanseok's fighting. She wonders what is going on with this guy and checks his background, only to find that his previous job was working at a logistics company. The orange-haired guard whispers to Sohn that our boy has almost no mana accumulated in his body. To generate that level of power, he would normally need years of mana accumulation. Sohn then comments that Chanseok appears to be intentionally avoiding mana accumulation, though she immediately questions whether that is even possible. Meanwhile, on the stage, Chanseok presses his neck, noting that it feels a bit uncomfortable, but decides that to properly prove his abilities, he should finish the match decisively. As our boy stands there, the yellow-haired candidate weakly asks how he managed to do that. Ignoring him, Chanseok attacks again, telling him not to worry because it will not be a fatal blow. The yellow-haired candidate is shocked and attempts to defend himself, but he faints after the strike. The announcer declares our boy the winner. Upon hearing this, Sohn's guards exchange glances. While others are busy evaluating him, she decides that she needs to make her move. She wants to see Chanseok's true abilities for herself. When one of the guards asks where she is going, Sohn replies that she is heading to see the association president. Meanwhile, Chanseok continues defeating his opponents, thinking that they are all incredibly weak. Even for newly appointed rookie hunters, their level feels disappointingly low. No matter how many matches he fights, every opponent seems to be roughly the same. This makes our boy seriously wonder what they are teaching at the Hunter Academy. Aside from confidence, apparently. He defeats another opponent, thinking that there is not a single decent challenger in sight. Eventually, another opponent steps onto the stage, and the spectators grow excited in anticipation. The announcer declares that the grand finale opponent is candidate Senga and questions whether she can finally stop the advance of this mysterious super rookie. Our boy analyzes her and compliments her internally, noting that she has gathered the most mana out of everyone he has faced today. Senga exhales and remarks that despite this, Chanseok himself has nothing. She believes that he may have advanced this far through luck, but that there will be no more flukes. Our boy scratches his head and asks if that is the standard line they teach at the Hunter Academy. Senga unsheaths her sword, judging from Chanseok's barehanded fighting that he lacks a unique skill. Even so, she states that this does not mean she will go easy on him. Chanseok thanks her with a confused expression, thinking to himself that he does have a unique skill, but he is not using it because he believes she would get hurt if he did. Senga then takes a deep breath and attacks our boy at full power with flash-like speed. To her shock, Chanseok easily dodges the attack, and the sight leaves her so stunned as she realizes he avoided her lightning-fast strike simply by jumping. While in midair, Chanseok finds it interesting that by running an electric current through the scabbard and blade, she made them magnetic. She then added magnetic force to the act of drawing the sword, effectively turning it into a railgun. Our boy lands calmly on the ground and agrees with Senga, saying that her skill is definitely the best he has seen so far, but she missed the most important thing. Confused, she asks what he means, and he explains that knowing when to attack is far more important than attacking quickly. He points out that she was too focused on speed alone. Senga's mistake was that, in order to accelerate the sword even faster, she laid down a magnetic rail in the empty air. No matter how fast or powerful an attack is, only an idiot would take a hit when the attack path is clearly visible. Senga grits her teeth and tells our boy not to get cocky as she launches another assault, shouting that she can defeat someone like him even without using that technique. While calmly dodging her attacks, Chanseok asks if she is serious and adds that since he already dodged her fastest move, there is no way he would get hit by this. Senga grows furious and attacks again, but as our boy avoids her strikes, he realizes she is overdoing it. She is forcing herself to scrape together mana, and if she continues like this, her body is going to suffer badly. At this point, Chanseok closes the distance and, before attacking, says that her technique was impressive, but this is where it ends. Senga is shocked to see him so close. Our boy smiles and tells her to raise her left hand if it hurts. He punches her in the stomach, follows up with a rapid barrage of strikes, and finishes with a final punch that sends her collapsing to the ground. The spectators from the various guilds are stunned, unable to believe that Chanseok has overwhelmed Senga, the top student of the academy. Many of them wonder where someone like him even came from. Our boy rolls his shoulder, thinking that she was certainly more skilled than the others, but her reliance on mana caused her to neglect physical training. Hearing a groan behind him, he finds it hard to believe she might still be conscious. He turns around and sees Senga raising her left hand. This makes Chanseok laugh, as he remembers telling her to do exactly that if it hurt, and she actually listened. As the announcer approaches Senga, one of the staff members rushes over and whispers something into his ear. The announcer then informs the crowd that the tournament schedule has been changed and instructs the winner, Chanseok, to take a short break. Confused, our boy asks what he is talking about, since the match should already be over. The announcer continues, revealing that Chanseok will soon participate in a special match against an active hunter, arranged by special permission of the association president. He asks the audience to give their enthusiastic support. Sonsgaard comments that, in the end, she really went through with it. Our boy notices that the opponent's name has already appeared on the monitor, visible only to the audience, and judging by their reactions, this must be a highly skilled hunter. He wonders if this special match was set up by Son herself to test him, reflecting that things are surprisingly similar between this world and Earth. Sometime later, Son enters the arena holding a greatsword and calls out to Chanseok, apologizing for appearing without prior notice. She explains that this was the only way to properly confirm his skills and introduces herself as Lee Seon of the Jeonnabai Guild. She adds that the stage so far has been too small for him. Because of that, she proposes a match with her, assuring him that he can refuse if it feels like too much, given how sudden it is. Chanseok recalls that she is ranked 10th in the World Hunter rankings, and the aura and composure surrounding her make it clear that she is no bluff. In his current body, even fighting her with a spear would be difficult, but he decides it is fine. That is why he accepts the battle. The announcer is shocked that they are proceeding immediately. Chanseok casually adds that he has not used much stamina yet, and feels like he might finally see something interesting. Son remarks that he seems fired up, and our boy thinks that if he has to fight her anyway, this is the best possible situation. To achieve the best results in the tournament, she is the perfect opponent. With that thought, he grips his spear and wonders if it is finally time to raise his value, because if he's going to make a statement, he might as well make it loud. The officials from the guilds are extremely shocked, and even the announcer is amazed by Chanseok and Son's fight. While countering Son's attacks, Chanseok wonders how it is even possible for her to possess this much raw power. After that, our boy attempts to charge an attack, but before he can fully commit, he is forced to fall back under Son's pressure. This makes Son realize that compared to the beginning, her speed has dropped considerably. Meanwhile, Chanseok is also heavily exhausted. Son straightens her coat and remarks that she was hoping for a good warm-up for the first time in a while, then asks if our boy is already tired. Still, she compliments him, saying that he did well. She admits that she thought he would last about 5 minutes, but never expected him to hold out for a full 30 minutes straight. After saying that, she takes her stance and charges toward Chanseok, stating that now she will make it easy for him. Chanseok clicks his tongue, thinking that he has practically no mana stored up and that there is not much mana in the atmosphere either. He did not want to use it, but he realizes that he has no other choice. As Son prepares to attack, he decides to use Paradox Flame on himself. She notices it, but still attacks him. Our boy dodges the strike and falls back, which makes Son think that she definitely swung with enough force that he should not have been able to avoid it. When she looks at Chanseok more closely, she notices some black mana clinging to him and asks what it is. Paradox Flame is Chanseok's specialty, a power he used constantly before returning to Earth, and the one he trusts the most. As anyone can tell from Chanseok's completely unscratched clothes, unlike normal flames, this black fire cannot burn matter. Instead, it ignites abstract concepts that Chanseok designates as fuel. With his current output, he can ignite concepts with high ignition points, such as memory or reason. The concept he chooses to ignite right now is fatigue. Our boy charges towards Son, making her realize that he has become faster than before. Their strikes clash, and Son immediately understands that Chanseok has recovered in an incredibly short amount of time. As the fight continues, Son notices something strange. The concentration of mana in the air keeps fluctuating between high and low, even though the arena settings have not changed. This leads her to wonder if he is the cause. Just as fire releases heat when it ignites, Paradox Flames release mana when they ignite abstract concepts. Chanseok uses mana to ignite the Paradox Flame, and the flame then ignites his fatigue to generate even more mana, creating an endless cycle. Son attacks again, sending dust flying across the arena, and asks if he plans to keep this up. Chanseok's specialty is a war of attrition. As the dust settles, our boy stands there smiling and says that he can still keep going. He then casually asks if, by any chance, she likes guys who do not know when to quit. Hearing that, Son instantly rejects the idea, saying that she absolutely hates them. After fighting for 4 hours and 17 minutes, Son stands there with her greatsword and comments that Chanseok held out for a long time before asking if he wants to continue. Chanseok's Paradox Flame has vanished, and he waves his hand, asking her to spare him. With that, the announcer declares that due to candidate Chanseok's forfeit, Hunter Son is the victor. Son hands her business card to Chanseok, saying it is a reward for his hard work. Chanseok reads the card and sees that she is from the Janabi LLC team of 3 partner hunters. Son tells him that they will discuss the details later and that for now, he should just give her a call. After that, the announcer concludes the hunter selection trials and instructs the winner, Chanseok, to come up to the stage to receive his award. Our boy wonders whether Janabi is a hunter agency, and while eating the candy Sone gave him, he browses his phone and discovers that it now contains a hunter license, noting that the technology is surprisingly reliable. As Chanseok stands there, a massively tall hunter recognizes him and stops to talk. The hunter complains that our boy looks better in person than he did on camera. After confirming his identity, Chanseok asks who the hunter is. The man hands him a business card, and upon reading it, our boy learns that he is Hunter Yoon Songhyun of Taebeek. More precisely, a partner hunter from the Taebeek Guild. Songhyun says he will keep it short and invites Chanseok to join Taebeek, specifically Songhyun's own team. He believes that if he gains enough experience under his guidance, he will definitely shine. Our boy senses that Songhyun is not lying, but then remembers how Sone gave him her number and told him to contact her. Realizing he already has a prior engagement, Chanseok explains that he cannot give a firm answer right away and tells him that he wants a little more time to think before making a decision. Songhyun laughs and asks if our boy thinks he was going to demand an answer on the spot. He then places a heavy hand on Chanseok's shoulder and jokingly warns him that he had better think it through properly. After that, Songhyun leaves, while Chanseok silently watches him go. Chanseok immediately decides that he is definitely skipping Taebeek. Afterward, our boy calls Sone, who seems to be sitting in a restaurant. During the call, he asks where he should go to meet her. She tells him that she will send him the location. Chanseok looks up and realizes that the location that she sent is right in front of him. He enters and is greeted by a bright-faced girl, while Sone notices his arrival and welcomes him. As they walk to their seats, Sone asks if something happened. Chanseok explains that someone tried to recruit him into a guild and mentions that the recruiter was a really huge guy. When he tells her the hunter's name, she reveals that she knows him and explains that since Songhyun personally showed interest, other guilds would not have even dared to make an offer. Chanseok smiles and asks if the same applies to Janabi. Sone looks confused, then calmly eats her ice cream and says that she has no intention of recruiting him. Our boy is shocked and asks why, especially since she gave him her business card. Sone suggests that he work without being affiliated with any guild, essentially as a freelancer. Chanseok is stunned, realizing that he does not have to belong to a guild to become a hunter. Sone continues explaining that Songhyun was probably going to offer our boy a junior position. Since Chanseok is unfamiliar with Earth's guild system, he asks her to explain the difference between junior and partner hunters. Remembering that he was not from the Hunter Academy, Sone explains that guild ranks are usually divided into 3 categories: junior, senior, and partner. Junior and senior hunters belong to teams led by partner hunters and can be thought of as salaried employees. Partner hunters, on the other hand, hold shares in the guild instead of receiving a salary, making them closer to business owners who split the guild's net profits. Hearing this explanation, Chanseok remarks that it sounds exactly like a law firm. Sone agrees and says that she heard the first hunters who established guilds modeled them after law firms. However, she explains that our boy does not necessarily need to belong to a guild or climb the junior and senior ranks to become a partner hunter. Chanseok says he understands and adds that if he becomes famous and achieves respectable results, guilds will naturally come looking for him. Sone confirms that this is correct and happily hands him another piece of candy. He wonders why she keeps giving him candy, but he accepts it anyway. He then points out that since he has no connections and no experience on Earth, it will still be difficult for him to receive proper job requests for now. Hearing that, Sone smiles and says that she will help him with that, and of course, it will be free of charge. While eating the candy, Chanseok admits that he does not understand why she would go this far for him. Sone flips through her files while explaining that in the future, when he has built up enough of a reputation to be recruited by a guild, she simply wants him to remember that there was a place called Janabi that helped him. Hearing this, our boy realizes that she is essentially putting him in her debt. Sone then places an envelope on the table and asks our boy if he wants to take a look at it. Chanseok opens the envelope and asks what it is, and she explains that it is a request from Incheon City. There is a location called Jaedongdo Island where a corrosion zone formed 2 years ago after a failed attempt to eliminate a corrosion rift. Hearing this, our boy asks if all he has to do is go there and eliminate the corrosion rift. Sone immediately denies that, explaining that his task will be to patrol Jaedongdo Island, check whether any additional corrosion rifts have appeared, and eliminate them if necessary. Chanseok reads that the mission begins in 1 month, with 5 million won paid upfront and an additional 15 million won upon successful completion. Considering that it is a life-threatening job, our boy comments that the pay is not exactly generous. Son smiles and tells him that if it feels unfair, then he simply needs to get stronger and become famous, because at that point, money will start flowing into his pockets even when they are already full. She then asks for Chanseok's answer. Hearing this, Chanseok replies that he will take the job. The scene then shifts to Son sitting in her car, speaking with someone on the phone. They are discussing Chanseok, and the person on the call asks whether our boy is good and what kind of man he is. Son replies that his name is Chanseok and that he is a civilian who cleared a weapon mandatory tournament using only his bare hands. Hearing this, the person on the call responds that it is not bad, but Son disagrees, saying that not bad is an understatement. Son then reveals that our boy lasted a full 4 hours against her. The person on the call asks whether that was because she limited her power. Hearing this, Son calls him boss and reminds him that she is a veteran hunter with 10 years of experience, all of it earned by surviving hellish battlefields. But surviving for consecutive hours is not something that can be brushed off. She believes that even if she were reborn, she would never encounter another monster like Chanseok again. Meanwhile, on Jiadongdo Island in Incheon City, hunters begin gathering along the shore. Son's boss says over the phone that regardless of how highly one rates Chanseok, the Jiadongdo Island mission specifically requested hunters with prior mission experience. While Chanseok's skills may be impressive, there is concern over whether he can hold his own while teaming up with veteran hunters. Son replies that if that is the concern, then there is nothing to worry about, because she has paired him with someone reliable. Hearing this, her boss agrees, stating that since she is the strategic mind behind Janabi's operations, he will trust her judgment. Finally, her boss asks what she thinks our boy will be like if he ever reaches her level. Son smiles and replies that he might not like the answer, but if Chanseok reaches her level, then he would be strong enough to take her down as well. 1 month ago, a delivery worker arrived at apartment 1506 carrying a parcel and rang the bell, wondering what on earth had been ordered because the package was heavy as hell. After setting it down, the worker left to deliver the next parcel. Our boy opened the door and exclaimed, "Finally, it's here." He brought it inside and realized it was incredibly long. Unlocking it, he carefully drew out the spear he had ordered. Inspecting the weapon, Chanseok nodded, commenting that the spear should be perfectly fine. He then turned his attention to the elixir. An elixir is a potion that hunters use in emergencies. It contains condensed mana, which is extremely helpful when mana is urgently needed. One controls the mana in the atmosphere, stores it in the body, and uses it when necessary. This elixir, however, allows that entire process to happen in a short period of time. Chanseok, though, uses mana differently from others. He skips the storage process entirely, directly absorbing and using the mana from the air. The advantage of this method is that there is no limit, since he draws directly from the mana in the atmosphere. Moreover, as mana flows through his channels during absorption and release, those channels gradually strengthen, enabling him to handle more mana over time. The only downside is that until these channels develop fully, the amount of mana he can safely manipulate is limited, making it difficult to produce a strong output quickly. Since Chanseok doesn't have time to wait, it seems best to store some of the elixir's mana before using it. He opens the elixir's cap, thinking that if he trains with this for about a month, he should be able to develop exactly the strength he needs. Meanwhile, on Jiadongdo Island in Incheon City, the organization is confirming the identities of all hunters participating in the mission. Chanseok scans his QR code, and the man in black verifies his identity, informing him that he has been assigned to Squad 8. While the other hunters chat amongst themselves, our boy stands silently until someone calls his name. It's none other than Sunga. Seeing her, she then continues, saying that they are in the same squad and that it's great. They should work together during the mission. Our boy asks why they should work together, and Sunga explains that it's because he is stronger than her, so she can watch and learn from him. The hunter with glasses called for everyone's attention in Squad 8 and announced that, since all members had gathered, it was time for a briefing on the mission. The man in the black suit continued, noting that some hunters were participating for the first time, so he would also explain the relevant terminologies. Chansiok quietly wondered if the man in the black suit was talking about him. He continued and explained that corrosion rifts are classified as Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and unclassified. The closer a rift is to Class 1, the more dangerous it becomes. Additionally, the first corrosion rift to appear in a specific area is given the special designation Alpha. Currently, the Alpha corrosion rift on Jiadondo Island is located at the church in the northern part of Insuri. Although it remains unclassified, considering that corrosion rifts grow stronger over time, hunters were strongly advised to avoid approaching it. Their mission was to patrol Yukni-ri and Jiadongmayan and eliminate any additional corrosion rifts that might appear. Hearing this, the orange-haired hunter muttered, "Wait, this is an elimination mission and we've got a rookie in the squad." Chansiok ignored him, and the man in the black suit informed the group that they had now arrived on Jiadondo Island. He stepped onto the island alongside Sunga, when suddenly someone blew a whistle, announcing that the situation on the island was being monitored by the offshore control room. If they needed assistance, they could contact the control team. After that, the official wished them luck. The hunters immediately began forming strategies. Observing them, Chansiok commented that it seemed they would need to scout both areas over the course of a week. The other hunters glared at him, but our boy pressed on, saying that they needed to set up a base at Wagyesa Temple and operate from there. The hunters asked about Chansiok's identity, curious if he was a rookie, since they had never seen him before. More importantly, one asked why they would choose Wagyesa Temple. Chansiok explained that from Wagyesa Temple, they could see Yukni-ri, and from the peak of Wagayasan, they could observe Jiadongmayan directly. The old temple building was still intact, so it could serve as lodging, making it an obvious strategic choice. The other hunters were shocked, arguing that there were plenty of other places to stay nearby, and that climbing a mountain unnecessarily might leave them surrounded. Our boy calmly replied that they weren't facing thousands of enemies, so there was no risk of being encircled. In the end, the hunters refused to follow the orders of a supposedly inexperienced hunter. Chansiok sighed, thinking to himself that idiots who defy logic exist in every world. Frustrated, one hunter suggested that our boy simply act independently. Accepting this, he decided to proceed alone, with Sunga following him. As they began climbing the mountain, Chansiok noticed another presence with them. While he expected Sunga to trail behind, he couldn't help but wonder about the orange-haired hunter. Our boy sensed that this hunter's mana was slightly higher than Sunga's. The guy's name was Kim Min-jae, and our boy asked him why he had followed them. Min-jae glanced at Chansiok and explained that, since it was both Chansiok's and Sunga's first mission, he was worried about leaving two rookies to act on their own. Chansiok smiled and thanked him, thinking at least there was one sensible person around. Suddenly, he froze, motioning for the others to wait. Sunga tried to speak, but Chansiok gestured for her to be quiet and peek over the edge. Min-jae, confused, obeyed. There were at least 50 goblins below. He suggested taking a detour. Chansiok, calm as ever, told him to relax, and then asked about Min-jae's unique skill. Min-jae blinked. "You're thinking of fighting them?" he asked. Chansiok shrugged. "Isn't that what hunters do? Fight corrosion creatures?" He repeated the question about Min-jae's skill. "My unique skill is fire," Min-jae said. "And which technique are you most confident in?" our boy pressed. "The fireball," Min-jae admitted. Chansiok grinned. "Good. Attack first on my signal." Min-jae's eyes nearly popped out. His shock deepened when Sunga asked about her role in the plan. Facing 50 goblins with just the three of them seemed reckless to him. He suggested contacting the other hunters via radio while they still could. Our boy shook his head. "They won't arrive in time. Unlike us, who left directly from Wagyesa Temple, the other hunters are still searching along the coast. It's reckless to radio them. No guarantee anyone will respond. And if the goblins scatter, they could endanger the others." Min-jae paused, realizing Chansiok was right. Even if another hunter was nearby, they might not arrive quickly because of earlier conflicts. Chansiok continued, "That means we handle this ourselves. In a situation like this, the key is a surprise attack. No time to waste. I'll explain." Min-jae listened as our boy outlined the plan. Min-jae would attack the center with a fireball, while Chansiok blocked the sides. That was the gist of it. After hearing the plan, Min-jae realized Chansiok had anticipated every possibility. Somehow, He felt as if our boy had experienced battles like this countless times. Who exactly is this guy? He wondered. The plan began. Min-jae fired the first fireball at the center. As the blast erupted, Chanseok charged in. Min-jae shouted that he needed a moment to charge the next fireball, and he smiled. "Shoot whenever you're ready," he said. While Min-jae prepared the next fireball, our boy leapt into the air, thinking about efficiency. Dividing roles in battle ensures maximum effectiveness. Until the next fireball was ready, Chanseok handled the other goblins, preventing them from reaching Min-jae. Of course, he couldn't block all of them alone. Some slipped through, but that was where Sungua's flash strike came in, leaving no goblin escaping. Once the cooldown ended, Min-jae called out that he was ready. Chanseok shouted for him to fire and moved out of the way. The fireball launched, and our boy landed gracefully. After a tense fight, they had successfully defeated all 50 goblins. Chanseok complimented the team on their excellent work. Min-jae, however, stood behind him holding a gun, a sight that surprised Chanseok.